Hello and welcome to this section. In this section, we learn Video Fusion H5. As the name suggests, it is how to add interactive effects to the finished video. Let's use these video clips in H5 and how to prepare our video for making such interactive H5. This section mainly includes the following for the 3 knowledge points. We will review our time mark again, that is, the time mark we have learned in the sliding time axis. Then we will give a demonstration in class. Finally, we will review the key points when we make this kind of H5. The first point is our time mark. There are 3 common functions of time mark. The first one is our time mark, which can only be used in our time axis, slide, time axis, audio, video, etc. What is our track edit menu for adding in such an area in the track edit menu? We can see that it has a kind of menu with a playback axis. This piece below is called our track editing menu. Then the second point, by modifying the specific parameters and setting the exclusive event, you can start from any playback progress event, or let the animation pause at a specified point in time. The third point, as a convenient starting point for playback to a certain point in time, or a pause point for staged playback of animation, such 3 common functions. In fact, the second point has already been experienced when we make the effect of our sliding timeline. Today, we mainly use an attribute such as play to a trigger point of a certain time point. Then how can we add our time mark? In fact, it is very simple to add a time tag. There are 2 methods. The first is to click our shortcut key to add a time tag. Or we can click our time tag widget in the widget column to add a time tag. How to add a time tag? Here I will give you a simple demonstration. We can see that this is our case. We randomly select a node of a time, and then we click an add tag here. We can see that there is an additional tag here, and then there is such a time tag in our object book. In addition, there is a way that we can select any time point. We can click a widget of such time mark on the left, and it can also be added. These 2 methods are commonly used to add marks. Of course, we don't need these 2 tags, so we click the delete tag here to delete it, and then the time tag has a basic property. First of all, we will review that we have used one of its basic property in the sliding timeline, that is, one of its pause points. Then we will change the property in our sliding timeline, one of its rolling effects, to an automatic jump to the control point. Let's row, it can automatically jump to the next market, and we can set how long it takes to play between the 2 time marks. Then, we have demonstrated the following point for you before, that is, the animation jump here is a fixed market, rather than playing according to the length of time between 2 marks. Therefore, no matter how long the track of our own design is, it will automatically change speed, and only play the set jump market. Do you remember the clock we made before? That is, we set 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Since we set a uniform interval, we will obviously find that the speed of it is slightly slower from 12:001:00, but from 1:003:00 or 3:006:00, we can find that one of its moving effects is faster and faster, which is a supplementary explanation for an attribute like ours. Next is its second point. In our ordinary timeline, as long as the pause point of the time mark is turned on, we can make our animation pause when playing to the time mark. Likewise, whether or not we turn on our pause point, we can add a playlist tagged event to the timestamp. So we can trigger a variety of actions by playing the marked event. After a simple explanation, we will make a production of our classroom application. First of all, let's take a look at a case we are going to make today, and what kind of effect it has. You can see that this piece here is actually a video clip. Let's have a look. What is one of its attributes here? It's video, right? Therefore, what is currently playing is actually a video clip. His true hand of love will not become gentle. His lover's heart always makes him use the soup of his lonely troubles, so he has to ask his friends for autumn. You can see that it pauses at this moment, and then what can we do? We can then make a choice. For example, we can now select the first occurrence point, and it will continue to become an effective video playback. He will start playing an animation effect under our first branch, and then we will click our second branch, and then he will play a video of our second branch similarly. There is no problem in our repeated selection. He will play such a series of video clips. Then let's choose the third option. You can see that an advertisement is implanted skillfully here. Therefore, as such an interactive video, this video content and H5 are also a very hot means of advertising production. It's over after Yumchuan's side excavation. Well, in order for us to make such an effect, we will open our editor and start to make such an application. Then, similarly, when we select such a video interactive page, we add a banner for it. Why do we add a banner? In fact, this is to make a very basic adaptive effect. You can see that there is a certain virtual shaking on the upper and lower sides. Why is a virtual area? It is for us to be compatible with the viewing effect of different mobile phones. If the screen of his mobile phone is very large, we also hope that the whole video can see one of our core contents in the middle, so we use the center point as a reference point to create an effect of our whole case, which is equivalent to that we use the center point to align. As for why we want to carry out such a layout, we will observe it slowly in the process of production for a while, and then experience it slowly. So we select such a page first, and we add a widget for it. Actually, if we need to use the positioning point, we must select one of the two banners. Which one should we use? In fact, it doesn't matter, because we have a way to center our video at the two positioning points. Here, we directly select one of our absolute positioning banners, and then we change its overall layout to a center. Then, in order to achieve the effect of one point, the background color here can actually ignore it. We change its width and height, change it all to 0 and 0, so it is a position of a central point. We change the name to a central positioning point, and then we select our central positioning point. What do we want to upload, and what is this? This is essentially a video, right? So we select our central location to upload one of our video widget. Here we drag and drop our video widget. Here we upload a vegetable dish that we have prepared. Then we can slightly adjust the size of such a video. For example, one of its width is 375, and the height is 750, about such a height, and then what do we want the center to do about it? For the XY axis here, I don't have to go to the range 0, and let it align with the upper left corner, because the current center point is in the middle. If I make the two origins completely overlap, will such a video always be in the center? So what do we do? Let's change its origin to 50 of 5050. This is its center point, right? Then change all its XY to a 0 and a 0, okay? In this way, can we see the final effect of our whole video? Then we also want to avoid such a scroll bar. Since we have made it display in the middle, we can change what property of the page, and change the cutting property to 1 so that we can directly reduce it. In this way, we have a most basic effect. First of all, we don't care about these playback controls for the time being, because there is a button to display the playback controls. If we turn it off, it will be hidden automatically. Now we are debugging, so we don't care about these playback controls for the time being. Then we begin to enter the core step. What is the core step? Let's take a look at our complete animation. How does it play? There is a couple in the park. We can see that there is a complete play here. We can speed up the front. As a good reason for his lonely troubles, we have to ask for help from our friends. You can find that when it is played to such a time node, an option appears, and then we continue to watch such a video. How does it behave? What happens when this option appears? Is it followed by an effect of a video of the first result? Then there is the effect of the second video, and then there is an effect of the third video, so we can draw a conclusion, that is, the whole video puts all the results of the 3 segments in such a video at one go. So how can we add an interactive effect to such a video? It's actually very, very simple. We have to take the first step. We find the first position of a pause point. Where can we see? In this place, when it is about 33 seconds to 34 seconds, do all its options pop up? So here, we first add its first time tag. We change the name of this time tag to our pop-up option. Now that it has been said here, let him make a pop-up option, then our corresponding options must also be done. How do we do our options? If we say that after the video is paused, we paste a banner on it, and then display the picture on the banner, can we pop up a function that allows us to carry out a manual operation of an option? Yes, that's why we use our central positioning point to locate. Because the position in the upper left corner of different mobile phones is different, we can't locate it very accurately, and the centers of all mobile phones are the same, and then the position of the center is completely the same from the positions of the three options, so we can add another one. We absolutely locate the banner, and then we change its position to a center, and then empty its color, and change its width and height to 0 and 0. This is also a positioning point, which is called the option center positioning point. Now he is also in a position in the center, and then we can make our options here. The options are 3 pictures, so let's draw an approximate position, and then let's upload the corresponding option. Okay, this is our option 1. Similarly, we are drawing our option 2. This may need to be adjusted slightly. This is our option 2. After these 3 options come out, what if you want to make it a little more vivid? Can we add a series of moving pin effects for it? So let's select these 3 options. Let's add a dynamic effect. Let's choose the simplest dynamic effect type and jump first. Let's take a look at the effect. It seems that such a heartbeat effect can also be broadcast in a cycle. Then, similarly, we copy and paste this action effect. We add such an action effect to each such option, so we have completed the first step, that is, its options are displayed, but when are our options displayed? When are they played to a position like our pop-up options? Let them do it a demonstration, so we are going to use the most powerful point of our time tag next, that is, it has a unique trigger event called what? Yes, it's our play to the mark, so when he plays to the mark, what do we ask him to do? Let's display the central point of our selection option. Can such an option be displayed normally? Okay, let's preview the effect. Let him play it here first. Let's fast forward a little bit, so we have to ask our friends. You can see that there is a pause here, and the 3 options will be officially discussed. Then what should we do next? When we click each option, we will jump to each video clip, so we will add a series of events for such 3 options. Of course, before adding this series of events, we need to find out where the 3 clips corresponding to it are located, so we can find out first whether the playback has not started here is in such a location as 35.567, which is a location of option 1. So we select our option 1 to add an event for it. When it is clicked, what does our video do? Just choose one of its event called jump to where? Let's take another look at such a time, that is, at a time like 35.333, we copy it, and then we jump to such a time point in option 1, and then jump to this time point. What's next? Let's play our video, and then what's next? Let's do this again. We can hide an option, and then we can use the same event. We add each event to it, and we paste it when option 2 is selected. We can find out where the location of option 2 is, and we can see that option 2 is in a location like 42 seconds. Make a copy, and then make a replacement here. We also add such an event for option 3. Let's find a location for option 3. It's almost in such a position. Let's copy the time and set such a time for our option 3. Okay, let's preview the effect again. Here we'll just let him go, starting with 30 seconds. You can see that now he asked us to choose the corresponding option. Let's choose option 1. You can see that it is indeed playing our option 1 type, but we found that there is nothing. When we play option 1, does it play the video automatically? Is there still a problem? So what should we do to solve such a problem? Should we add a series of tags here to trigger the pause effect at any time point? So similarly, let's look for an option here, a time point after it is played. Is this a time node after an option is played? So I'll add a tag for it. This tag is changed. One name is option 1 complete. When it plays to such a point in time, what do we want it to do? At this time mark, we also make it pause and pop up our options. Is it completely consistent with the effect of our pop-up options? Here, we can directly copy our options and add an action to paste them. When we play them to this mark, they automatically pause and select a positioning point in our center. Then, similarly, we have to choose a position of our option 2, probably at such a time point, about 50 seconds. At such a time point, we add a mark and then change the name here to end our option 2. In the same way, we think it adds such an event, and then we preview the effect again, and then we pull the time to a position of 30 seconds, and here we choose option 1, then we click option 3 to try again, and we can find that when I click option 3, he pauses again. Why does he pause again? You see, option 3 is more capricious. No matter what I order, he can't play it. Why can't he play it? This is a very common mistake, so I will share it with you directly here. The reason why there is such a problem is because you can see what property our time mark has, what property it has called a pause point, and what does the pause point mean. When it plays to this time node, it will automatically pause. Then let's take a look at our option 2. A pause point where it is located is 50.6 seconds. Because in this way, when we choose option 3, he will directly jump to 50.55 seconds, and he will not trigger such a pause point at the end of option 2. For the same reason, we still need to modify a pause point such as option 1. Now it's about 42.383 seconds. Let's turn it down a little bit. Yes, it's about 42.2 seconds. Let's check it. When we select option 2, it is at 42.383. We adjust the time node of such an option to a jump time point of our play, so that after it jumps to such a progress, it will not trigger such a pause effect again. Okay, let's preview again to see if there is any problem. This side still jumps to 30 seconds for another play. Worried, he just wants to beg his friends. Okay, let's click the first one first. You can see that the first one has been played normally. Then let's click the second one. We can see that the second one is playing normally, because the time point we jumped to now has exceeded our pause point. In the same way, we can choose another time, the second time let him play another time for the second time, and in the same way we can choose the third time, and the third time it will finish broadcasting our entire video, because there is no other pause point in the back, so we can finish a complete application. What is the core idea of this application? In fact, we have used such a function. For a video, it can jump to a certain time point, and we can let it play again. What is the operation of jumping to a certain time point play? Then we should also pay attention to one thing here, that is, when we choose such a time point to jump to, we must be after our pause point anyway. Otherwise, because it triggers the effect of such a pause point, just jump, just like you expand such a progress bar to the front, because it triggers such a pause point as soon as it is played he paused again. So it feels like you have no effect after clicking. In fact, it has an effect, that is, you drag it to the front, and then play it again, which triggers such a pause. So in fact, for a case like ours, if we are positive production, how should we complete a production? So next, we will summarize the key points of our production. So what is the difficulty of this kind of application? It is not difficult in the production of our whole H5, it is difficult in the production of our video, because all the situations should be produced together in the whole video. Then the second point is to find all the time nodes and add our time markers. So if we are going to make this case, what will we do? Can we find out where each time mark appears and where each time mark is? First, what is the first time stamp? It's a place where options pop up, right? So let's find the first position first, that is, the position where the option pops up, and then let's find the time mark. You can see the time mark at the end of the first option, and the time mark at the end of our second option. Of course, if you have 4 options, you should find the time mark at the end of the third option. Then what are we actually doing when we go to a clip jump? You see, when we jump to the camera, where is it? Is it a place after our pop-up options? Here, we can observe that the time of our first pop-up option is 33.7 seconds. When we choose option 1, we can adjust it to 33.7 seconds later. Similarly, the completion time of our first end is 41.216 seconds. Therefore, when we choose option 2, it will jump to 42.216 seconds later. So the same position is that when we go to the end of option 3, we can jump to 1 after option 3 when we choose option 3. So generally speaking, we just need to find such a few time nodes, and then when we jump, as long as we add a few milliseconds to such a time node, we can complete the production of our entire application. The above is the whole content of this section. Thank you for watching.